Apple is not just a company. It is an icon of the modern world, the style, the mindset, the culture. Today, I'm going to tell you how a trillion-dollar capitalization giant grew out of a garage, what was behind Steve Jobs' greatness, and what came after him. Why Apple remains a symbol of trust today, but is already facing new challenges. And how could Apple have disappeared without one extraordinary event? This will not only be a brand story, but a look from the other side. What Apple is like when you look not as a user, but as an observer of the era, as a person who changes the world. They met in high school. Steve Jobs, charismatic, bold, stubborn. Steve Wozniak, chip and solder genius, good-natured introvert. Their first invention together was not a computer. Phone hacking. A blue box. A device that could be used to make free calls between cities. They laughed, but they even dialed the Pentagon. It was a game, but also the first taste of power over technology. And then Jobs disappeared. Off to India, barefoot with a shaggy head, searching for the meaning of life. He came back different, with experience, with silence inside, and a desire to create. After the Indian retreat, Jobs took a job at Atari and worked on video games. Meanwhile, the other Steve was building the perfect home computer, just for fun. That's when Jobs realized Wozniak was the engineer, and he was the one who would package that magic into a product. They founded Apple on April 1st, 1976. With them was a third partner, Ronald Wayne. He designed the logo, drew up the charter, and 12 days later sold his share for $800. Today, that stake would be worth over $100 billion. To jumpstart production, Jobs made a deal with the Byte Shop. 50 Apple I computers, up front, on pre-order. They used the money to purchase parts for their first computer. They assembled everything by hand, soldered them in the garage and packed them in shoeboxes. The Apple I isn't even a computer in the conventional sense. It's just a motherboard, no case, no monitor, but with ambition, and that ambition quickly began to bear fruit. After 4 years, a high-profile IPO, the stock is sold out in minutes. The company is growing explosively. 25-year-old Steve Jobs becomes a billionaire as 300 Apple employees become millionaires. But behind the shiny shell, an internal conflict was brewing. Jobs was inspiring and exhausting. He demanded the impossible, to lay his own life on the altar of his ideas. He shouted. The managers walked out. Eventually, the company's board of directors got tired of it all. In 1985, he is effectively squeezed out of his own company. He's ostracized, but not broken. Steve Jobs creates Next to build the supercomputer of the future, buys Pixar and launches an animation revolution, releases the first computer-animated movie, Toy Story. Meanwhile, Apple is going downhill. In 1997, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. The company makes minus $1 billion a year. Hundreds of products, not a single hit. Tired of its own powerlessness, Apple calls Jobs again. And he comes back. He cuts everything out, weaves only 4 products. He shuts down side projects, and even convinces Microsoft to invest $150 million in Apple. Yes, arch-rival Microsoft saves Apple. And then a new era begins. In 2001, the iPod was released, which put music into a small portable device. becoming an instant hit. But the best part was ahead. In 2007, Steve Jobs takes the stage and says, "Today, we're going to introduce 3 devices: a phone, a media player, an internet communicator." But it's not 3 devices. It's one. We call it the iPhone. The room unanimously says, "Wow." He didn't just change the market. It changed the mindset. The iPhone became a symbol of a new age, and with it came a whole ecosystem of devices and services: the App Store, iCloud, AirPods, Apple Watch. Apple is no longer just a company. It is the culture of the modern man. Sadly, Steve's best years coincided with his battle with a debilitating illness. After giving the world a few more years of his existence, he's gone, now for good. Tim Cook has been at the helm ever since. At Apple, he was Chief Operating Officer, COO, responsible for global sales, manufacturing, and supply chain. Less flamboyant, but an iron-fisted strategist. Apple became a giant, stable, profitable, huge. Today, Apple is one of the largest technology companies in the world. Its main sources of revenue are sales of devices and paid services. In fiscal 2024, Apple's revenue was $391 billion, of which about 52% came from iPhones. In the first quarter of 2025, the company reported record revenue of $124.3 billion, despite lower sales in China due to the delayed launch of Apple Intelligence. Apple's business model combines B2C and B2B business lines. In the B2C segment, the company sells devices and subscriptions directly to consumers through its own stores and online platform. The B2B business includes supplies of equipment and solutions for corporate customers, educational institutions, and government organizations. Apple is actively developing subscription services such as Apple One, which combines several services in one package. Manufacturing is done through partner factories, including Foxconn, with an emphasis on quality control and hardware and software integration. Apple's core product continues to be the iPhone. Other devices, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, and Apple Air complemented favorably. In 2024, Apple Vision Pro, a mixed reality headset with Vision OS, was introduced. The company also continues to invest in the Apple Intelligence AI platform, integrating it into devices and services, which could be a key growth driver in the coming years. Apple's business geography spans more than 50 countries, including the US, China, Canada, the UK, Japan, and India. In 2024, the company opened its first retail stores in India, continuing its expansion in Southeast Asia. In the first quarter of 2025, Apple overtook Samsung in smartphone sales, with a 19% share of the global market, driven by the success of the iPhone 16e in developing countries. Perhaps the main battle will unfold in China, where Huawei is strengthening its position with the launch of the Mate 70 Pro and its own HarmonyOS Next OS. The company is investing heavily in expanding manufacturing and developing new technologies in the US, announcing plans to spend $500 billion over the next 4 years. These investments include building an AI server manufacturing center in Texas and increasing spending on semiconductor development, which will reduce reliance on Chinese supplies and minimize tariff risks. Additionally, upcoming product launches like the iPhone 17 and improved versions of the Vision Pro could boost the company's stock, given the stock's historical trend of rising prices ahead of major announcements. However, Apple faces a number of challenges. Weaker demand for the iPhone, particularly in China, where the company has been losing market share due to high prices, has analysts concerned. Delays in the development of key AI features, such as personalized Siri, and leadership changes in this area could impact the perception of the company's innovativeness. These factors, along with potential legal risks related to false advertising allegations, could put pressure on Apple's profitability and reputation in the future. In terms of management, Apple has demonstrated high stability at the top over the past decade, which has had a positive impact on strategic consistency and investor confidence. However, recently, signs of internal tensions have begun to emerge that could impact this stability. In late 2024, Dan Riccio, a 26-year veteran of the company who previously led the engineering direction and the Vision Pro project, stepped down. In 2025, the company replaced its head of AI. John Giannandrea was replaced by Mike Rockwell amid delays in AI development and the Siri update. Also worth noting are the departures of legendary designer Jony Ive in 2019 and head of industrial design Evans Hankey in 2023, which signals a gradual renewal of the upper echelon of management. Tim Cook's long tenure as CEO provides strategic stability, but given his age and rumors of a possible departure, the market is closely watching succession plans. Possible candidates include John Ternus, Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering. However, internal disagreements, such as over AI budgets, highlight potential friction within the management team. These factors could affect investor perceptions of Apple if there is a leadership change. Today, whether you're holding an iPhone or typing on a MacBook or listening to music on AirPods, you hear echoes of the same garage where two guys once decided. Technology should be beautiful, simple, and for everyone. Steve Jobs once said, "Those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world, really change it." Well, they did change it.